A family threatened at gunpoint by Phoenix police is demanding the officers be fired. Cell phone video shows the intense confrontation after an alleged shoplifting incident. The family is now suing the city for $10 million. Jeff Pequeis is there.
Get out the car! Get out the car right now!
The cell phone videos were captured by witnesses to the May 27th confrontation. It shows officers with their guns drawn on the family of four.
And that lady pregnant.
The parents' 4-year-old took a doll from a dollar store, and police say Drayvon Ames, the father, stole a pair of underwear and was driving with a suspended license. While Ames was handcuffed, the officer kicks out one of his legs.
You're not complying with me.
Yes, I am.
When I tell you to do something, do it.
I am. I'm complying with everything, sir.
I thought we were all going to be executed.
3 weeks later, both Drayvon Ames and his fiancée, Aisha Harper, remain shaken. In the middle of that confrontation, how did you think that was going to end up?
I have no idea. I thought something bad was going to happen to me and my children at that moment. I thought I was going to be shot like he told me.
The family says the police chief's apology is not enough. They want the officers involved fired. In an interview with CBS affiliate KPHO, Chief Jerry Williams acknowledged that the officers crossed the line.
Today we are going through the process of identifying, yes, there was some misconduct, there was some egregiousness, absolutely.
Phoenix police have been accused of using excessive force in the past. In 2018, they were involved in more police-involved shootings than any other department in the country. Earlier this year, in an interview, Williams promised that there would be changes.
My agency is unafraid of the truth. If there's something we can learn, let's learn it, let's fix it. The officers involved in this latest incident are on desk duty pending the conclusion of an investigation. Tomorrow, the mayor and the police chief will face the community in what is likely to be a heated town hall at a local church. Maurice.
Jeff Pequeis is in Phoenix tonight. Thank you.
The mayor of Phoenix planning a town hall tomorrow. This after a video showing an African-American couple being threatened at gunpoint by police officers. It goes viral. Police were responding to a suspected shoplifting of a doll. The couple says they feared for their lives. It says it started with police yelling and banging on the windows of their car before it truly turned ugly. I want to bring in now CNN's Sarah Seidner. Sarah, good evening to you. What is going on?
So there are two videos taken from two different angles by bystanders. Once the car is stopped, after the police have gotten out of the car. The most disturbing parts of the videos begin with officers pointing their guns at this family of four and screaming incessantly curse words at them. Then you see another officer move in, his gun raised, using the F word. That's the beginning of the video. We don't know how long this went on before the bystanders began recording, but the video goes on to show Ames on the ground and another officer asking pregnant mother Aisha Harper if she's okay. Soon after, another officer runs up and curses at her for not putting her hands up. Harper argues and curses back, saying she couldn't because she was holding a baby. The officer tries to grab the toddler. The children begin wailing. Then an officer, you see him there, uses a leg sweep on her fiancé Ames, who is already cuffed against a patrol car. The family says they feared for their lives over an accusation of shoplifting underwear and a doll. In the police report, the officers say Ames admitted to shoplifting the underwear and driving on a suspended license. Police also wrote that Harper said her daughter took the doll unbeknownst to her, but the family is disputing some of the details. So this has, of course, gotten condemnation across social media, but it has also been condemned by both the police chief in Phoenix there and the mayor. Both apologized for this. They were disturbed by the language used and the actions of the officers. The police chief saying this is not the way that our officers are supposed to act in a case like this. But I do want to bring something else up, Dawn. We have just gotten in some surveillance video that was released by the police of inside of the store. And what it seems to show, you see the lady there with the black dress on holding that cute toddler. You see her daughter up next to her and kind of walking behind her. There is a woman standing there holding what appears to be tin foil or aluminum foil. And as you watch this video, this is inside of the Family Dollar store, according to the police, when this incident happened in May 27th. You see there the child holding that doll, because they did accuse the family of stealing a doll. The mother said that she didn't realize that the child had the doll. And so what it looks like there is she's speaking to the woman that's holding the tinfoil, and then you see her stop. The woman throws the tinfoil at the display, and then the mother, father, and the child, who's 4 years old, end up leaving without paying. This is more video. This is what police are saying. There's the husband, the fiance there, Mr. Ames, in the underwear aisle. They have accused him of stealing underwear. Now, the family has, of course, said that some of this is untrue. Some of the way that the police went through this information is untrue. But this is police now releasing video of inside of the store. What their attorney has said repeatedly and has said today, and including their spokesperson, is that no matter what happened inside that store, the reactions of officers was absolutely over the top, and that the family did fear for their lives, especially when they heard the words, "I'm going to put a cap in your effing head." Don?
Sarah, thank you very much. Let's try to get some insight as to what's going on. And joining me now is a couple at the center of this harrowing experience, Drayvon Ames and Aisha Harper, along with their attorney, Thomas Horn. Good evening to both of you. Before I get to you, the police just released this video, Mr. Horn. What do you think of this?
Well, as your reporter said, whether it was a little bit of shoplifting or a little bit less of shoplifting, it doesn't justify what happened. And you've pointed out that the police pointed their guns at them, but it was much worse than that. There was a lot of very brutal physical brutality that went on. Drayvon was pulled at gunpoint out of the car, thrown to the ground, his head put on hot asphalt, his hands handcuffed too tight, dragged up. His head was used to close the car door by banging it against it. He was put up against the back of the car. The officer kicked his leg so that now he limps and he can't work at the warehouse where he did work that involved physical labor. He fell to the ground. They yanked him back up. They punched him hard in the back. They put him in the police car for an hour, for a half hour, without loosening the handcuffs. And he wanted to protect his family, but he couldn't. He saw them brutalize then Aisha, who they dragged out of the car in a headlock, her and her child. They wanted her to put the baby on the ground, which she wouldn't do because it was hot asphalt.
Mr. Horn,
they pulled so hard that the... Yes.
Pardon my interruption before we run out of time, because I want to speak to them as well. But have they been charged with anything?
No.
No. Okay. So after this video was released, Aisha, the Phoenix police issued a report accusing your 4-year-old daughter of taking a doll, Drayvon of allegedly lifting a pair of underwear. They released this video from inside the store tonight. Give me your response to that, Aisha.
I really can't comment on that right now.
So you have no comment about the video and what was released? Or the treatment?
No comment besides that still doesn't justify the way the Phoenix police officers acted.
Drayvon?
Same question?
Yes, sir.
I feel like they're trying to make my family look bad on top of already terrorizing us and hurting us already physically, mentally. My daughters are traumatized. They'll never look at police officers the same when they're supposed to help and serve and protect. And that's no way to treat no one. We've seen mass murderers get walked into a police car without a scratch on them. And you're saying over a Barbie doll that a 4-year-old took, and allegedly that there's all allegedly. The dollar store didn't press any charges. We weren't charged with anything, so it's all allegedly that this stuff happened. The video, it doesn't show anything but the 4-year-old walking out with the.
Did you take anything from the store?
No, I didn't make anything out of that store. I didn't take anything out of the store.
The Phoenix police.
Don,
go on. Sorry.
Oh, Don, let me just say one thing I was going to add was that they pulled so hard on the baby that she got something called dead arm, and Aisha was so afraid of these police that she gave her baby to a stranger because she was so afraid of the police. And I think a lot of women that I know identify that when you're that scared that you would give your baby to a stranger. What a terrible thing that was done based on a doll being taken out of a store.
So how's your daughter doing tonight?
Not good. She's still, both of my daughters have nightmares, you know, traumatized from the situation, you know. I really like to keep them indoors because, like, when I take them around and stuff, it's, like, not the same anymore.
Yeah. Let me ask you, there are a couple of responses, okay? The Phoenix police chief and the mayor apologized. The governor, Doug Ducey, calls the video disturbing and unacceptable, but says he's withholding judgment until the investigation is completed. The police officers involved have been placed on administrative leave, but are still working. How do you feel about this investigation, Dravon, and the apologies from the mayor and the response from the governor and the police chief and so on?
I feel like they're going at the investigation the wrong way. Everybody sees that it's very clear that it's frightening to put family lives at stake over materials or whatever. A 4-year-old has to look a barrel in the eyes. A 1-year-old has to get her arm squeezed and pulled by an officer. A pregnant mother has to look a barrel in the eye. A father, a young father at that, has to look a barrel in the eyes. And we're not treated with the same respect. They try to dehumanize us. And we will never be the same. I keep on picturing guns, like, pointed at me. I keep having flashbacks, and it's just it's terrible what happened. We were terrorized, and it's clear to see everything in that video is just nasty. It's very sickening.
Well, Aisha, I want to ask.
Don, I'd like to point.
Can I get one question into Aisha, please?
Yes,
Aisha,
please.
how do you think this case may have played out if no one recorded what happened to your family?
Honestly, I feel like we wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for those people who recorded, because them officers came at us so hard and didn't think twice about my children, didn't have no sympathy that I had a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old in the car. Made it seem as if I had a gun, and they knew the whole time it's about a Barbie doll. So obviously there's kids in the car, and the way they came to our vehicle didn't even alert us that they was pulling us over or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like horrified for the whole situation.
Well, we're going to talk about the police response. Listen, and you, once this plays out, will you guys please come back and let us know what happened, and we wish you or your family the best. But go on.
And Don, I'd just like to point out, Trayvon was compliance 100% of the time. He did what the civil rights groups say you should do, is comply, and still he was brutalized.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Dravon. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Don.
So the mayor of Phoenix promising to fast-track the implementation of body cameras for police. This after an African-American couple was allegedly threatened at gunpoint by police over the suspected shoplifting of a doll. We reached out to the Phoenix Police Department. We invited the police chief to appear on the show. They declined, so let's discuss now. Areva Martin is here, as well as Charles Ramsey. Areva's the author of Megan and Rain. So thank you both for joining us. Charles, I have to ask you, you're a former commissioner of the Philadelphia Police Department. What did you think when you saw this video, the response from the police officers?
It wasn't justified. I mean, you're talking about shoplifting. I mean, that hardly justifies the use of deadly force or even the threat of the use of deadly force. And all they did was escalate the situation. I mean, a 4-year-old child is hardly responsible for their actions. And not only that, at the time they responded, they wouldn't have known any of that. What they responded to is a shoplifting. I think the mayor and the chief are absolutely right to apologize. They need to do a thorough investigation, let the cards fall where they may. But this was over the top, and in my opinion, shouldn't have happened.
You heard Areva at the end of the interview. Mr. Horn said that that Trayvon complied. There doesn't appear to be at any point during the video that shows the couple resisting officers or ignoring commands during the entire situation. What do you think? Why do you think the officers were so quick to use potentially deadly force here?
You know, that's a good question.
Well, I can't justify it.
That's for Areva.
Clear.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not clear why went from 0 to 1,000 so quickly, given that the store didn't even make the complaint about shoplifting. Apparently there was some anonymous call. We essentially watched a family on the verge of being executed because a 4-year-old walked out of a store with a doll. And I don't know why down in all these cases we have this same pattern. We have the officer assigned to desk duties or administrative duties, and there's this long, drawn-out investigation. I think there needs to be a new protocol put in place. When you have evidence as shocking and as striking as this, these officers need to be held accountable. And in a case like this police department was just involved in racist social media posts involving over 90 of their former and current officers. So there's a systemic problem with the Phoenix Police Department that goes a lot deeper than what we saw in this videotape. And having President Trump and the Department of Justice essentially eliminate the kinds of investigations that took place at the federal level, I think this is an example of what happens when police departments aren't policed independently by agencies like the Department of Justice.
Charles Ramsey, is a retraining of the Phoenix Police Department needed when you look at this approach?
Well, let me just say this. You can't paint everybody with the same brush. I mean, this was bad, no question about it in my mind. It doesn't mean the entire Phoenix Police Department is. Now, they've got issues. A lot of police departments have issues. You can never have enough training. It's always good to do. But I would not want to say that the entire Phoenix Police Department is somehow corrupt, bad, brutal, or whatever. They got an excellent police chief in Jerry Williams there. She'll certainly do the right thing. But let's not, take this too far. You've got 2 officers that acted inappropriately. Let's deal with that. And there are other officers. If they need to be dealt with, then deal with them. But don't paint the entire department.
Hey, Areva, I've got 15 seconds. The family has filed a $10 million lawsuit against the city of Phoenix. Do they have a case?
Oh, they have an excellent case, Don, and I'm certain that we're going to see the police department and the city of Phoenix settle this out of court. This is not a case they want a jury to get its hands on. So we should expect to see a pretty substantial settlement for this family. And even a monetary settlement isn't going to erase the trauma that the children and the family experienced in this situation.
All right. Thank you both. I appreciate your time. And thank you for watching. Before we leave you, though, tonight, here's